Accept your death.
Alright, Bonehonks, this video is all about Mortal Kombat 1. And today, I'm going over my year-end, as of January 1st, 2025, assuming there's no balance patches, which I'd be shocked if there was, tier list. And yeah, we have 4 different tiers here. So we have best, top, mid, and worst. So my idea was to try and make like the best and worst kind of as small as I can. That's what we're doing, so let's get into it. I guess we're starting in alphabetical order. We got Ashra here. I think Ashra is definitely a top tier character for sure. Good damage, fairly simple, straightforward combos. Good cameo synergy all around the board. Ashra Movado is very, very good. So I have her as kind of a top tier, but she's kind of missing some of the stuff that puts her in best. Might be a controversial take. I don't know. I think she's really good. I think the balance overall in this game is really good, so. Moving on to Baraka. I think Baraka is probably around the mid-range. She's very cameo dependent, does pretty decent damage, but once you kind of get used to him, he's kind of hard to open you up with. You know, once you get used to his low and his overhead and kind of reacting to those, although I will never really 100% get used to that stupid low that looks like an overhead when he's reaching his foot over your head and it comes down. But yeah, I think just being quite cameo dependent kind of keeps him back a little bit, and his damage without it is not really that great, but the game's about cameos, so I think Baraka's a good solid mid-tier. Cyrax, I think, is a top-tier character. She's very good, wins pretty much every trade with her little foamy stuff. Good setups, kind of has her pretty high skill ceiling. Like, you really need to understand your bomb setups and how to mix it up if your opponents are doing things like delay wake-ups or jumping forward out of them. But once you got that, she's got kind of setups for every scenario, and also a very good timeout character, because all of her combos take so long a lot of the times, and they do just such small damage too. Can kind of be frustrating to play against, you know, when you're just stuck not even being able to play the game for like half of the round. I'm sure you've been there. I know I have. Ermac is a top tier character as well, kind of does everything, has some of the coolest tools in the game, with like that Enchantress kind of shield, kind of keep him from getting too much damage. Again, similar to kind of Baraka, where he's kind of cameo dependent, but I mean the cameos that help him really freaking help him. Like Ermac Janet is probably a top pairing in this game right now. Super duper good. Be interesting to see what they do with Janet Cage, if anything. Garrus I have as a mid-tier character. Even though he did get some nice changes, doesn't seem to be quite what he needed. I know a lot of people will complain about his down one, but, you know, cries and Quan Chi kind of a thing. So, no sympathy from me on that part. But yeah, I have Garrus as kind of mid. He's kind of as close to, I guess, a grappler as we have in this game. And even then, I wouldn't say he's a true grappler, but, like, his time stop and his snap and everything is, like, super duper cool. So, Garrus mid-tier. And like I've kind of mentioned, I don't think that there's really too much difference between these two. Like, they're pretty close. I think balancing this game all over is kind of fine. So, Ghostface I have as top. Again, kind of does everything well. Can use multiple cameos. It's a shame that they kind of killed the knife cancels. I'm going to assume that that's probably going to come back, because that was just like a temporary thing until they can kind of figure out what's going on with that infinite that didn't look too terribly hard to do. Just a couple inputs cancels, that kind of thing. So, but if they bring that back, you definitely top tier character. And top tier design too, all around. Havoc is no surprise here. He's one of the best characters in the game right now. Huge health pool, multiple cameos he works good with. Just 100% damage combos pretty much. I'm really surprised that he survived that last patch. He was a menace there. And I guess that's what they wanted him to be. They wanted to be the big boss of the Chaos Reign, so they just let him roam free in the wild. Okay. Havoc, definitely one of the best in the game. Formerly one of the best in the game, Homelander. Still a top-tier character in my opinion, but doesn't really have all the brokes. Like, that one change to the forward 4 really changed him, so now he's kind of a little bit more of like a strike-throw kind of a character, which isn't quite as scary, but I mean, you know, with certain, like Farah, for example, you can kind of get some pretty good damage off his grabs, so he is scary, definitely top tier. Not quite in what I would call the best in the game. Really trying to keep the best in the game like a cut above. They have all the tools, they do all the things. Like this next one here, Johnny Cage. I think he's one of the best in the game. Multiple cameos you can use with him. Really good damage. Even without his height meter, he's got good damage. And with his height meter, it's disgusting. You know, and I think they did a really good job with Johnny Cage because he doesn't feel like a I don't want to play the game anymore kind of top tier. He just feels like a really strong, well-balanced character. And when they made the changes to his parry and nerfed his defense a little bit, which I thought was kind of the main idea, I think that was good, and he's in a super good place right now, and I don't anticipate any more changes to him coming in this game's life. Who knows how many changes we're going to see, but I don't foresee any more coming to Johnny Cage. Quan Chi I have as a top. Nothing more to say. Sento can be super duper overwhelming. Good combo damage. Not really fun to play against. Sometimes you're just stuck in one long block string, and you're really just trying to find a flawless block. And then that's kind of where you can kind of get out of Quan Chi's pressure, because if you flawless block, a lot of Quan Chi players are going to try and stagger their pressure a little bit to get you out of that flawless block state, and either go for a mix-up or something like that, and that can usually leave a gap for you to armor and kind of get your turn back. So Katana is a top tier character for sure. I think at one point I had her as one of the best, but I don't think I'm going to put her up there anymore. I think she kind of just does everything well, and just super balanced. Good zoning, good counter zoning, good pressure, good spacing, good whiff punishing. But just doesn't have that kind of it factor that I see from the other top tier characters. So definitely open to discussion if you think differently. But yeah, that's definitely a top tier Katana for sure. Kung Lao is a bit of a fall from grace. I kind of have him in the mid tier here. Really odd choice to take away his like armor. You know, the safe armor, that was like his thing. You know, like I think he can still do it, but it's 2 bars. I didn't find him like super overwhelming or anything with that, you know? Maybe that was just something that they just didn't want in the game. I'm not sure why they changed that. He's still a decent character. He's got some decent mix-ups, some good damage. His kind of neutral is meh. You know, I did try playing him for a bit. You really got to rely on whiffing those dive kicks and hope that your opponent doesn't read it and come in with like a block or something. Full combo punish, but yeah. Well, Kung Lao is kind of he's just solid mid-tier character. Now this is one of, I believe, 2 characters I have in the worst category, which is Li Mei. And I know I've seen people do stuff with Li Mei, and that's just a testament to how balanced this game is. Just even though there's some of the worst in the game, you can still make them work. Just have to try way harder than a lot of other characters. And I think Li Mei is one of them. And at this point, I just don't really know what to do with her. Like, they've tried buffing her multiple times. Nothing just seems to kind of be sticking. She seems to be stuck with the Scorpion cameo. Maybe I've seen Movado here and there. Movado is something else. That cameo makes me super salty, let me tell you. But I don't know what I would do to change Li Mei. I have no idea, and I don't know what to expect. Her toolkit just doesn't seem very well-rounded for what she wants to do. Outside of with Scorpion, where she just hits one big combo, and then just waits, try to fish for it, hit another big combo. I don't know. Not very good cameo synergy in a game that revolves around cameos. So Liu Kang is a kind of a tough one. I think I'm gonna put him in kind of the top tier, but I also wouldn't really argue about putting him as one of the best strike throw in the game. Good counter zoning, good zoning if that's what he wants to do. Good cameo synergy. Just kind of does everything well. I just feel like he's just missing that it factor, you know? There's no 100% tether combos or crazy combos with, you know, without hype or anything like that. But I feel like he's just a really solid character, which he always is in all these games. So, I mean, I don't know. Melina, same idea. Top tier, super knowledge check character. Definitely you gotta know her gaps and her strings, and kind of where she's safe, and she does have to take some risks sometimes, but she's also got the role as one of the better punishers in the game, a full combo punish on big whiff things from pretty much 3/4 screen. Super duper strong. So yeah, Melina, top tier for sure. If she wasn't so unsafe on like every special move, she might be a little bit higher up. So Natara is one that I'm gonna put in the best, but like barely. You know, like her damage output every time she touches you is actually crazy, and she's pretty cracked. But it felt like the more that I saw her and the more experience I got been playing against her, she didn't feel quite as strong. But I mean, that being said, there's a lot of Nataras out there and they can smack you for half your health bar easy in just one hit, and I think that's pretty crazy. So I kind of have her as the best. Good mobility, decent mix, not the best mix, but that back three can be super annoying. Good cameo synergy as well. I've seen Sonya, Mavado, all sorts of stuff with her. Obviously Farah as well. So yeah, definitely one of the better ones in the game. Noob Sailboat is another one that I have as like one of the best in the game. Like he's a little bit more cameo dependent, but I mean some of the setups he have, his overall toolkit, his mix, just off his basic toolkit is crazy. So yeah, and then decent damage on top of that, good mobility, quick ass teleport, and could be into full combo punish if you want. So I have him as one of the best in the game for sure, bar none. Omni-Man I have as kind of a mid-tier character. Super strong, good mobility, can move around, little bit cameo dependent on some stuff. Omni-Man Mavado is really, really good, surprising nobody, that cameo's cracked. But yeah, there's so much he can do. He's just so much he can do. But it doesn't feel nearly as strong as what the top tier and of course what the best can do. But he definitely can hang, so he's not the worst. He's not in the worst. And I think Peacemaker's kind of around the same. Definitely a character that used to be one of the best. I think I have kind of just below the upper echelon of characters in the game. Still super annoying, really good neutral game, decent projectiles. Obviously, big old teleport you can kind of bait and do mind games with. But yeah, just not really as the top tier kind of characters go. The moment you've all been waiting for. Quan Chi, and I believe this might be the first time I'm actually saying this. I think he's actually bottom 2 character. You know, I try to upplay my characters as best I can because I really I don't think they're that bad, but you know, when I start playing other characters like Sindel or even Sector or something like that, I really see how much harder I have to play as Quan just to kind of stay in the game. He has so many tools that just don't work properly, like his push away portal. That could be a lot faster, and I mean it doesn't really matter because people can just wave dash through it anyways, or Natara can just fly in the air and dive kick over it. They could make some amendments with that. Really, his only saving grace is the armor portal. You know, his zoning isn't that scary between teleports, flawless blocking, and cameos. There's so many ways around his zoning. So they definitely need to change some stuff with Quan Chi, because right now I have him as the worst character in the game. If they could find some way to make his zoning a lot more powerful. If you had, say, that push-away portal kind of bigger and on both sides of him to kind of negate teleporters from punishing him, that would be kind of cool. Or just make it last longer so you can move it around the screen. If someone teleports, you can move it back to break yourself out of the combo. That would be cool. But yeah, there needs to be some changes to young Quan here for he's just going to live in this little worst in the game zone for now. I finally have seen the light. Raiden, one of the best in the game for sure. Safe mix-ups, really good combo damage, really good cameo synergy. One of the better teleports in the game. Multi-hitting projectile. Character's got it all. And he's super annoying to fight against. And a lot of Raiden players are pretty toxic. You're gonna get those teabags, you know? It's like, oh. And he's so safe. There's rarely ever a chance where Raiden does something that you can punish him for. You really have to outspace him or catch him whiffing something. And, one time you will actually catch him whiffing something and you get smacked with a couple of Kano knives. So there's that there as well. He's super annoying, top tier for sure. Rain is definitely a top tier character. Good cancels, good pressure. I think one of the only characters in the game with a Kara cancel, I think. I thought I saw a Twitter clip of somebody going through a bunch of characters that have different Kara cancels, but his seems to be the only one that's kind of maybe intentional. But yeah, decentish damage, decentish zoning, can do it. Obviously he has his little portal thing, his little bubble he can wrap himself in, and that aerial projectile, super annoying to deal with. So yeah, top tier for sure. Reiko, same idea. Top tier character. Just kind of does everything well. Kind of maybe can get outzoned sometimes, but I mean, you have one of the best projectiles in the game, so it doesn't take much to kind of get that. And then, even though his combos aren't the best, the ways that he has to open you up are insane. Like, really, really good hitboxes on his mids. Obviously, his command grab, really safe on block overhead, that I think now launches in the last patch. And of course, lows and whatnot, so yeah, I think he has a move that's just +8 for some reason on block. So yeah. Not really, you're not going to see like huge like 400 damage combos with Reiko outside of like Fatal Blow maybe, but definitely a top tier character. Reptile, another one who I think is a top tier character. Good cameo synergy, and the cameos that work with him really work with him. Really good mix. Obviously anybody that can go invisible I think is a top tier character in this game. You know, invisible mix-ups in fighting games is super duper annoying. And that's what Reptile does. So not much to go over. Good counter zoning, really, really good mobility, a lot of like screw neutral tools on top of whatever cameo he wants to pick. So yeah, top tier for sure. Scorpion is a fun character. I actually have him as one of the best in the game. Really good damage, really good ways to get damage. The buffs that they gave to him, I think it was just before Evo, after Evo, somewhere around there, were like exactly what he needed. Like some of the best stagger pressure in the game with the 4-3-4, the back 3 cancels, just insane range, good safety, standing 2, one of the better moves in the entire game. And of course his teleports, unblockable damage, all that kind of stuff. And the only thing that I would kind of maybe say would be a weakness, and I don't even think this is that big of a weakness, is that he doesn't mesh with a whole lot of cameos, but the one that he does, just bring him to a next level. Like, he's not even a thought. It's just, yeah. Nobody likes to see Scorpion Farah on their opponent's select screen. Sector, solid top tier character, some of the better zoning in the game. One of the 2 zoners in the game, I would say. But doesn't even need to do that. Does good combo damage, really good buttons, good mix-ups. Back 3 and back 2 are both really good moves. Good cameo synergy, can link a lot of things and combo in a lot of different ways. And decent damage. Again, just kind of missing that it factor that the best characters have, but perfect all-arounder character. If you want someone that you can sink a little bit of time into and get some wins, Sector can pretty much do everything. So, top tier character for sure. Shang is not too far above young Quan Chi. The cameo steal that he gave them is like really good for in lots of matchups, but then there's some cameos that like, why would I ever use this? Like Chameleon Steal, why would I ever use that? You know, like I'm still to this day trying to figure out, I mean, yes, it halves the damage of one attack, but it seems like kind of a risky thing to just risk have. I mean, maybe coming in clutch at the end of a round, but I think I went over this last time when I made a tier list. I just don't get it. He's definitely better than he was, for sure. That was an interesting change that added a lot of depth. And when you get a character like Farah on the screen, that's where you can be really crazy with that move and create all sorts of tick throws, and that's super duper fun. But yeah, for now I just have him in mid. He's probably, to be fair, probably on the higher end of mid. These aren't ordered at all, but if I was to order it, I'd probably put him like kind of up here with Baraka. But yeah, mid tier for now. General Shao, top tier. Glaring weakness in can get zoned. Definitely between my time with Quan and Sector. He does have a glaring weakness, which keeps him out of the best tier, but does good damage, has a really good health pool, good cameo synergy, really good mix-ups, and just overall silliness. Definitely he's a top tier character for sure. Sindel is in the best. She's got some of the best like screw neutral tools in the game. Her forward 1 is insane. She's got good projectiles. She's got some of the craziest mix. Like if you've ever seen Sindel Tremor, you ain't blocking that. I don't care who you are, you ain't blocking that. It's super duper annoying. And yeah, does everything fantastically, can disable your breaker, can have her cameo charge faster. Possibilities are endless with her. She's really fun with Shujinko. Some of the stuff, like if you stop Ermac, you steal Ermac's little low shot thing, he's kind of stuck there for a second, serve your queen, you know, and then charge Shujinkydink back up again. Super duper fun. Super duper versatile, can use tons of different cameos. Could be arguably one of the best characters in the game. Maybe I think if I were to order this, I would have her in like a top 3. You know, like these 3 here, like Havoc, Johnny Cage, and Sindel. Maybe. I don't know. Smoke's top tier. You know, if it was up to me as just a Quan Chi player, I'd have him in best. But I know that it's just a bad matchup for Quan Chi. He does have a little bit of weakness. He does have to play a little bit risky sometimes. But he's still very, very good. Those deadly vapors in the air that they gave him was crazy. I could never block those to save my life. Invisible smoke, like mix-ups. There is actually a glitch that I've seen a couple times. One of my students sent me a video of it too. And it's happened to me once or twice. Is that smoke will just go invisible for like 30 seconds. It's almost like the end cooldown of smoke's invisibility gets like cut off somehow. Let me know if you've ever seen that. But yeah, I had it once and I was like, why are you still invisible? What is going on here? So who knows if that'll ever get addressed. It's happened to me so infrequently that, you know, it's got to be some sort of weird thing that causes it. But yeah, super annoying. Sub-Zero, I think, is a solid mid-tier. I think another one who's super duper cameo dependent. Chameleon's a really good one with him. Serena. The clone combos that they gave him, they seem really cool. They look really fun to do, but they don't seem to do that much damage, and they're really not that scary. Because like when you have like the clones out, you're pretty sure he's just gonna slide. So it's not that scary, but he does good damage. I don't think he's in the lower echelon of the mids by any means. I just don't think he really has the versatility to be a top tier character. So I'm sure every Sub-Zero main will grasp this with their full heart and say, Dink is our savior. He put him in the low tier, which I'm not. He is a mid tier character. He is definitely not one of the worst in the game, that's for sure. Takeda, I think, is top, and it took him a while to get there. I think people really just had to kind of figure out his tool set and see like kind of how to use it, you know. And but yeah, really good damage, really good mobility. Just a bit of a weakness in Fatal Blow, can be hit out of that pretty easily. I don't think it actually has armor, at least not from my experience, or it doesn't last very long. It's pretty easy for me to just standing for him out of it. And even if you trade with like one of the projectiles, it seems not always the Fatal Blow will come out. So that's kind of a crappy thing, but with all his air movement and throwing the kunais and stuff, I think he's a pretty good top tier character. And finally we get to this one. Most tier lists I've seen have her as a low tier for some reason, and I really don't understand that. I get it that you can't like just brain dead throw out your armor anymore. Oh, so sad, too bad. But that doesn't negate the rest of her kit. She's got one of the biggest whiff punishing tools in the game between the drill, her big old range. Her forward 2 mid is super duper obnoxious. I have her as a top tier. I don't think she's like one of the best in the game, but you know, I have her as a top tier for sure. So yeah, that's my list. Hopefully you're checking it twice. See what I did there? Let me know what you agree, disagree with, where you'd move some characters. People always have their own opinions of their characters, and I'm definitely willing to hear you out. And I'll probably next do a cameo one for the end of the year as well, so keep an eye out for that. So as for now, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.